Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're like me, you've stared at a wall of guns at the shop, heart racing, wondering which one won't let you down when it really counts. Today's video isn't about hype or bashing brands for clicks. It's about giving you the straight talk on 12 firearm makers, ranked from ones I'd never hand to a friend to the single name I'd trust with my life. We'll walk through the good, the bad, and the downright scary, all based on real-world use, recalls, and thousands of rounds downrange. Grab a drink, settle in. This is going to be a ride. Number 12, High Point Firearms, proudly stamped Made in Mansfield, Ohio, has carved out a stubborn niche as the undisputed ruler of the under $200 defensive tool universe, marketing chunky, blowback-operated 9mm, 40, and 45 pistols, plus matching carbines to folks who swear that good enough beats none at all when the rent check bounces. The recipe is brutally simple. Pour molten Zamac into molds for the slide and frame, pin a steel barrel liner inside, slap on a polymer grip shell, and ship it with one stamped steel magazine, and a promise that the company will fix or replace it forever. No receipt required. That lifetime warranty is the golden ticket that keeps the faithful coming back, because breakage is not an if, but a when. The blowback system, chosen to avoid expensive locking blocks, turns every cartridge into a sledgehammer against the soft slide. After 2,000 or 3,000 full-power rounds, the ejection port starts to oval. The extractor claw mushrooms, and hairline cracks spiderweb across the top. Cover until one day the whole chunk lets go with a metallic sigh. Run anything hotter than standard pressure FMJ, and you're flirting with slide peening that feels like grinding gears in your hand. The fixed barrel sounds great on paper, but the plastic sights are molded nubs that flex. If you breathe hard, the 9-pound trigger creeps like cold molasses, and 10-yard groups resemble buckshot patterns, while the carbine stretches that slop to fist-sized clusters at 50 if the stock doesn't flex and throw your cheek weld off. Hollow point reliability is a coin flip. The shallow feed ramp hangs up on wide-mouth JHPS, so often that owners keep a dowel in the range bag to punch stuck cases free. Drop the mag on concrete and the lips fold like tin foil. The grip safety demands a death grip that vanishes under stress. And the slide stop is more suggestion than function. Ergonomically, it's a brick with a hole. 4 pounds loaded for a compact 9mm means concealed carry prints like a lunchbox, and the carbine stock gives your face the tender caress of a pine plank. Law enforcement adoption sits at absolute zero. The military won't even use them for training, and the aftermarket is limited to threaded barrels and red dot mounts that still can't fix the core metallurgy. Yet the carbine cult thrives because $100 extra turns cheap 9mm plinking into 100-yard gong ringing, and the warranty department really will overnight a replacement if you blow the thing sky high. Clean it after every range trip, feed it only round-nose ball, and accept it as the disposable range toy or truck console coyote blaster it was born to be. Anything more, and you're gambling with odds the house always wins. Number 11. Taurus, the Brazilian powerhouse that floods American shelves with pistols and revolvers priced like clearance rack sneakers, has spent decades trying to shake its reputation as the wild card of the budget gun world. And while they've made real strides since the nightmare days of the early 2000s, the ghost of inconsistent quality control still rattles chains loud enough to make you double-check the chamber before you holster up. The story starts in the sprawling factories of São Paulo, where polymer frames and steel barrels roll out by the millions, stamped with model names like G2C, G3, TX22, and the classic 856 revolver, all designed to undercut Glock, S, and W, and Ruger by $100 or more while promising good enough for the first-time buyer or the guy who just wants a nightstand blaster without draining the savings account. On paper, the specs look solid. The G3C packs 15+1 rounds of 9mm into a subcompact frame with adjustable sights, a decent trigger, and a manual safety that doubles as a decocker on some models, while the 856 hides 6 rounds of .38 special behind a snub nose that disappears in a coat pocket. Street price hovers between $250 and $350, and that's catnip for anyone who thinks reliable, and expensive are synonyms. But dig past the marketing gloss and you hit the lottery aspect that defines Taurus. One G3 might chew through a case of dirty surplus ammo without a hiccup. The next ships with a canted front sight, a magazine that won't drop free, or a trigger bar that snaps at round 312. The 2016 class action settlement over drop fire defects in the Millennium Pro and G2 lines forced a recall of nearly 1 million pistols, and even though post-2017 examples got beefier sear housings and lighter strikers, the stigma lingers like gun oil smell on a jacket. Revolvers fare better, yet timing issues still crop up. Cylinders that bind with +P loads, forcing you to mortar the gun like a jammed grenade. Independent testing shows modern Taurus pistols passing the 2,000 round endurance mark more often than not, but failure rates hover around 5% in large sample groups, 5 times higher than Glock or Sig. Law enforcement adoption is almost nil outside a handful of South American departments, and armorers roll their eyes when a Taurus shows up for qualification, because parts are proprietary and turnaround is measured in months. Aftermarket support is growing, holsters and fiber optic sights now exist. But try finding a match-grade barrel or an Apex trigger kit, and you're back to square one. Customer service has improved. Warranty claims get handled without the old send it to Miami and pray routine. But the fix is often a refurbished gun rather than a repair, which feels like trading one potential lemon for another. Range days with a Taurus can be a blast. Literally, when the gun runs, the ergos are comfy, recoil is manageable, and the price-to-smile ratio is unbeatable. Yet when the scenario flips to a dark parking lot and your heartbeat is the loudest sound in the world, that 5% shadow looms large. Bottom line, Taurus is the ultimate get-what-you-pay-for gamble, perfect for the casual plinker, the backyard trainer, or the guy who wants 2 guns for the price of one name brand. But if you're betting your life or your family's, treat it like the budget tool it is and keep saving for the tier above, because peace of mind doesn't come with a clearance tag. Number 10. Kel-Tec, the Florida-born garage tinkerer turned industry disruptor, has carved out a cult following by dreaming up firearms that look like they escaped a sci-fi sketchbook. Folding carbines, bullpup shotguns, pocket pistols thinner than a smartphone, all at prices that make the big brands sweat. But that same fearless innovation often leaves reliability hanging by a polymer thread when the real world demands more than a cool Instagram post. Take the Sub 2000, a 9mm 40 carbine that collapses into a lunchbox-sized package and swallows Glock or Beretta magazines like candy. It's genius for backpacking or stashing in a go bag, yet the aluminum foreign flexes under recoil. The feed ramp wears like cheap lipstick after a couple thousand rounds. And the bolt can bounce hard enough to induce double feeds if you ride the charging handle too eagerly. Reassembly after cleaning is a puzzle that bites back. Misaligned barrel lugs can lock the hinge, and more than one owner has watched the plastic recoil buffer disintegrate into confetti mid-string, turning a range toy into a single-shot club. Then there's the KSG, the twin-tube 12 gauge that promises 14+1 shells in a bullpup footprint, shorter than your average duck gun. The concept is pure fireworks, but the tube selector switch gums up under rapid fire, spent holes stovepipe between the tubes, and the pump action binds if you short stroke under stress. Exactly the moment you need a shotgun to roar without hesitation. Kel-Tec's P3AT and PF9 kicked off the Micro 9 revolution, proving you could stuff 6 or 7 rounds into something the size of a deck of cards, but early models cracked frames at the 500 round mark. Triggers doubled like a drunk metronome, and the long, heavy dial pull made follow-ups feel like bench pressing the gun itself. Recalls have dotted their history like buckshot on drywall, RFB barrels that overheated and drooped, KSG shells rupturing in the chamber, PMR 30 magazines that split at the seams, each followed by a quiet fix and a shrug, because the company's whole ethos is push it out the door, iterate later. Materials lean hard into polymer and 7No75 aluminum, keeping weight and cost down, but flex and heat tolerance up for debate. Run a Sub 2000 on a 90-degree day with a suppressor, and watch the 4N warp like a candy bar on a dashboard. Aftermarket support exists, mostly 3D printed miracles from the faithful. But try finding an OEM recoil spring on a Sunday in Montana and you're praying for 2-day shipping. Law enforcement adoption is a flat zero. Military contracts are a pipe dream, and even the most ardent fans admit these guns live on the edge of cool prototype rather than duty-proven. Still, the grin factor is undeniable. The KSG unloads a wall of buckshot like a video game. The sub-2000 turns a hike into a plinking party. And the price tag, $300 to $800 depending on the model, undercuts the establishment by half. If your mission is backyard fun, home defense on a budget, or showing off something nobody else at the range has, Kel-Tec delivers smiles per dollar like no one else. But if your heartbeat rides on split-second function, treat these as the brilliant experiments they are, clean them religiously, keep spare parts in the range bag, and have a plan B that doesn't rhyme with polymer meltdown. Number 9. Remington, America's oldest gunmaker with roots stretching back to 1816 and a legacy that once defined reliability with icons like the pump-action Model 870 and bolt-action Model 700, now sits in a painful middle ground where nostalgia clashes with a decade of corporate chaos, quality slips, and recalls that have left even die-hard fans double-checking serial numbers before trusting their lives to anything stamped with the big R. The 870 alone has scattered more ducks, busted more clays, and ridden more patrol car racks than any shotgun in history, with over 11 million units built and a reputation for going bang every single time you work the slide, while the 700 became the sniper rifle blueprint for militaries and the deer rifle king for generations of hunters. Its 3-ring of steel lockup and adjustable trigger delivering sub-MOA groups out of the box when the stars aligned. But the stars stopped aligning around 2007 when private equity giant Cerberus scooped up the company under the Freedom Group umbrella. Production moved from Ilion, New York to cheaper plants, cost-cutting bit into metallurgy, and the once legendary fit and finish turned into a lottery where one 870 might have a mirror bore barrel and another ships with rust freckles straight from the factory. Then came the Walker Fire control trigger scandal on the 700 series, a design flaw that allowed the gun to discharge without the trigger being pulled if sear engagement was off by thousandths of an inch, triggering a 2014 CNBC documentary, decades of lawsuits, and a recall of millions of rifles that still hasn't fully restored trust, because every time a hunter hears a click instead of a boom, followed by an unexpected hole in the ceiling, Remington's name echoes in the courtroom. Bankruptcy hit twice, first in 2018 and again in 2020, splintering the brand into Rem Arms under new ownership that promises a return to Ilion craftsmanship. Yet, fresh 870s and 700s still arrive with polymer trigger guards that flex, actions that feel gritty, and occasional out-of-spec chambers that shave brass like a cheese grater. The Versa Max and V3 semi-autos show flashes of brilliance with gas systems that eat any load from light target to heavy magnum. But reports of carrier latch failures and bolt handles snapping off under recoil keep them off duty belts. Prices remain tempting. A base 870 Express runs $300 to $500. A 700 ADL package with scope hovers around $600, and police trade-in Wingmasters pop up used for even less. Yet every purchase now demands a magnifying glass, a bore light, and a quick serial lookup on the recall database. Law enforcement agencies have quietly shifted to Benelli and Mossberg for pumps. The Marine Corps replaced 700-based M40s with custom builds, and competitive shooters chase Tikka and Bergara for guaranteed accuracy. Still, a clean pre-2006 example, especially a Winged Master 870 or a 700 with the old J-lock trigger swapped out, remains a workhorse that can outlast your grandkids if you feed it and keep it oiled. Bottom line, Remington's glory days produce legends you can still bet on if you buy vintage and inspect thoroughly. But anything built in the last 15 years carries enough question marks that I'd rather grab a proven newcomer than gamble on a name that used to be bulletproof. Number 8. Walther, the storied German craftsman that's been perfecting striker-fired triggers since the PPK slipped into James Bond's tux back in the 60s, feels like the quiet virtuoso in a room full of loud rock stars, delivering pistols like the PPQ and its successor, the PDP, that boast the smoothest, crispest, shortest reset triggers you'll ever feel on a production gun, with a wall like glass and a break at 4.5 pounds that makes every shot feel like cheating. The ergonomics wrap around your hand like they measured your palm in Stuttgart. The low-bore Axis Thames recoil and the optics-ready slides on the PDP come milled from the factory with multiple plate options, so you can slap a red dot on without mailing it to a custom shop. German police have carried PPQs for years. French GIGN trusts the compact versions. And when you pick one up, the balance is so perfect you forget it's there until the timer beeps and you're punching sub-2-inch groups at 15 yards without trying. The steel guide rod, aggressive stippling, and interchangeable backstraps mean it fits damn near every shooter. And the modular fire control unit lets you swap frame sizes if your carry needs change tomorrow. But here's where the love story hits a speed bump in the American market. Walther never cracked the mainstream adoption code the way Glock or Sig did. So the aftermarket ecosystem is a shadow of what you're used to. Walk into a random gun store in Montana on a Tuesday and ask for a PDP holster. You might get a blank stare or a 2-week back order. Same goes for spare optic plates, threaded barrels, or Apex trigger kits. The PPQ was discontinued in favor of the PDP, leaving a trail of orphaned fans who sunk money into mags and holsters that now gather dust. And while the PDP is backward compatible with most PPQ magazines, the transition left a sour taste for early adopters who felt abandoned midstream. Parts availability is improving through Walther's US arm, but it's still not plug and play. You're planning purchases weeks ahead instead of grabbing off the shelf. And if you're a cop or contractor who needs a replacement spring overnight, that lag can be a deal breaker. Prices sit in the $600 to $800 range, which isn't budget but isn't custom either. Yet you're paying a premium for that Euro refinement without the ubiquitous support network that makes Glock feel like the Toyota Camry of handguns. Range days are pure joy. Competition shooters swear by the trigger. And the guns themselves are tank reliable once broken in. But real-world carry means betting on a smaller community of armorers and retailers. If you live near a big city with a solid Walther dealer, and you value shooting feel above all else, the PDP is a sleeper hit that'll outshoot guns twice the price. But if you're in flyover country, or you swap parts like socks, the limited ecosystem turns a masterpiece into a headache. So, love the gun, just know the support circle is intimate rather than infinite. Number 7. Ruger, the American powerhouse, founded by Bill Ruger in 1949 and still churning out guns from its sprawling factories in New Hampshire, Arizona, and North Carolina, has earned its spot as the reliable workhorse of the firearms world by flooding the market with tough, affordable, no-frills shooters that rarely quit. Yet it never quite climbs to the absolute pinnacle because its focus on value sometimes leaves the fit, finish, and aftermarket ecosystem a half step behind the ultra-premium crowd. Start with the 1022, the little .22 rifle that has sold over 7 million units and taught 3 generations how to shoot. Its rotary magazine feeds like a dream. The barrel swaps in minutes, and you can push 1 million rounds through one without the receiver blinking, making it the undisputed king of plinking, small game hunting, and backyard training. Jump to the pocket carry world, and the LCP series disappears into a jeans pocket at under 10 ounces, cycles reliably with every brand of .380 I've thrown at it, and has saved more than a few lives when a full size was impossible. The latest LCP Max stuffs 10+1 into the same tiny footprint and adds an optics cut for the micro red dot crowd. The Security 9 and EC9s bring 9mm punch to the sub $300 aisle, polymer frames that feel solid in the hand, crisp triggers that break cleaner than most budget strikers, and enough accuracy to ring 8-inch steel at 15 yards all day long. Ruger revolvers like the GP100 and SP101 are built like bank vaults, 6-shot and 3 .57 cylinders that laugh at full house loads, adjustable sights, and grip options that fit every paw from toddler to lumberjack. Even the SR-19 line delivers a forged slide and frame, tight barrel bushing, and skeletonized trigger that rivals custom shops for half the price. though the checkering is a touch shallow, and the MIM parts don't quite match the buttery polish of a Wilson or Nighthawk. Where Ruger stumbles is the same place it shines: mass production. Tolerances are looser than a Sig or CZ, so one SR9 might print 1-inch groups while its twin opens up to 3, and the polymer finishes can feel a little plasticky next to metal frame classics. Aftermarket support exists, but it's a shadow of Glock's universe. Try finding a threaded barrel for an American pistol on a Sunday night, and you'll be scrolling forums while Glock owners have 10 options in their cart. Law enforcement adoption is spotty outside training divisions, and the company's semi-auto duty guns haven't cracked the big agency contracts the way M&P or P320 have. Still, every Ruger I've run has eaten muddy range days, high round count classes, and neglect that would hospitalize a boutique gun, and the customer service line actually answers with a human who speaks English and ships parts overnight. If you want a firearm that costs less than a weekend at the casino, shoot straighter than your skill level deserves, and will still be running when your grandkids inherit it. Ruger is the blue-collar hero that gets the job done without demanding a second mortgage. Number 6. Springfield Armory. The storied American name that traces its roots all the way back to 1794, when George Washington picked the Connecticut River site for the nation's first federal arsenal, has spent the last half-century translating that heritage into modern polymer and steel for civilians, cops, and weekend warriors alike. Yet it still carries a few scars that keep it from sitting unchallenged at the top of anyone's blind trust list. Walk into almost any shop today, and the Hellcat is the first thing that catches your eye. 11+1 rounds of 9mm stuffed into a micro frame, barely wider than a deck of cards, optics-ready slide, aggressive grip texture that locks your hand in place, and a trigger that breaks cleaner than most subcompacts twice the price. The XD series grew up alongside it, evolving from Croatian import to Illinois-built workhorse with interchangeable backstraps, loaded chamber indicators, and grip safeties that disappear the moment your palm wraps the handle. Law enforcement agencies from small-town departments to federal task forces have run millions of duty rounds through XDMs without drama. And the M1A still turns heads at the range with its walnut and steel swagger, spitting 3/8 like it's 1967 all over again. Accuracy is rarely the complaint. Put a Hellcat on a ransom rest, and it'll print one-hole groups at 15 yards all day if you feed it quality ammo and do your part. Recoil is snappy but manageable, thanks to a low-bore axis and that textured grip that feels like it was molded for your exact hand. Aftermarket support has exploded, holsters from Tier 1 to PH Elster, optic plates for every red dot under the sun, and Apex flat-face triggers that drop the pull to a crisp 3.5 pounds. Street prices hover in the $500 to $600 range, which is Glock money for a gun that often feels a notch above in fit and finish. So, why the hesitation? 2 words, 2017, Illinois. Springfield's parent company got caught quietly lobbying for a carve-out that would have shielded them from a proposed dealer licensing bill, while every other shop in the state faced new fees and red tape. The backlash was instant. Boycott hashtags trended for weeks, and a chunk of the 2A community still won't forgive the perceived betrayal. Quality-wise, early XD models had occasional MIM part breakages, sear pins snapping, slide stops shearing, but those gremlins are mostly ancient history, fixed in current production runs. The bigger lingering issue is consistency across the lineup. Some Hellcats ship with overly stiff mag springs that cause failures to feed until they're broken in. And a few XDs have shown up with canted front sights that require a punch and a steady hand. None of it is deal-breaking if you inspect before you buy, but it's enough to remind you that perfection isn't guaranteed. Bottom line, if politics don't live rent-free in your head and you want a carry gun that disappears under a t-shirt yet hits like a compact, Springfield belongs on the short list. Just handle it first, run a couple hundred rounds, and confirm the serial number isn't on any old recall sheets. Number 5, CZ as everyone calls it, is the Czech powerhouse that's been forging steel into art since 1936. And if you've ever squeezed off a round from a CZ-75, SP-001 Shadow, or P-10C, You know exactly why competition shooters treat the name like gospel, and why the rest of us keep sneaking glances at the display case. The magic starts with that legendary inside-the-frame slide rail on the all-steel 75 series. The bore axis sits so low, your wrist barely moves. Recoil flips upward instead of torquing your hand, and follow-up shots land before your brain catches up. Hammer-fired, single-action trigger breaks at a glass-crisp 4 pounds with 0 creep, and a reset you can feel through gloves, turning 10-inch steel at 25 yards into a giggle fest. The Shadow 2 takes that formula, adds a heavier frame, adjustable mag well, and fiber optic front sight, then dominates IPSC and USPSA production division like it's personal. Switch to the polymer striker-fired P10Cs, and you still get a trigger that outclasses most factory Glocks, interchangeable backstraps that actually fit human hands, aggressive stippling that locks in sweaty palms, and a slide cut for red dots right out of the box. Accuracy is borderline unfair. I've watched new shooters print one-hole groups at 15 yards because the gun refuses to lie. Reliability? CZ eats everything from steel-case Tula to boutique hollow points without burping, and the cold hammer forged barrels laugh at 10,000-round torture tests. Law enforcement in Europe trusts them daily, and American agencies are finally catching on. The catch, because there's always a catch, is that we're not in Prague. Parts, holsters, and optic plates aren't stacked 3 deep at every big box counter. You might wait a week for a replacement recoil spring, or drive an hour for a Kydex rig that doesn't look like it was 3D printed in a basement. Competition magazines cost double what Glock sticks go for. And if your local shop only stocks 2 brands, CZ probably isn't one of them. CZ USA has expanded warehouses and dealer networks, but the ecosystem still trails the polymer giants by a measurable gap. Prices reflect the craftsmanship. A steel frame 75 runs $600 to $800. Shadows push $1,000, and even the budget P10C starts north of $550. That's not budget blaster money, but it's also not custom shop money for what you get. Bottom line, if your priority is ringing steel, smoking stages, or simply owning a pistol that feels like an extension of your soul, CZ delivers in spades. Just accept that you'll plan your spare parts drawer like a chess game, and maybe bookmark a couple of online retailers who actually ship same day. For pure shooting joy and match-grade performance in a production gun, nothing else touches it. Number 4. FN Herstal, the Belgian powerhouse that has armed NATO forces since before most of us were born. Crafts firearms so precise and rugged that the SCAR rifle and 509 pistol routinely survive trials that would hospitalize lesser guns. Yet, for the average civilian, the brand remains a tantalizingly expensive, slightly mysterious option that demands you plan your life around its limited parts pipeline and premium price tag. The SCAR platform, adopted by SOCOM, lets operators swap barrels from 5.56 to 7.62 in minutes without losing zero, and its piston-driven system laughs at carbon fouling while the reciprocating charging handle stays cool under sustained fire. I've watched one chew through 1,000 rounds of suppressed 300 blackout in a single afternoon without a single hiccup. The gas regulator dialed to adverse, and the folding stock still locking up like a bank vault. The FNX-45 Tactical, with its threaded barrel, raised night sights, and decocker, ships ready for a can and a red dot, and the 15-round mags drop free even when caked in mud. But that .45 ACP punch comes in a package that costs north of $1,000 and weighs as much as a small dog. The 509 series, which beat every other pistol in the Army's modular handgun system, torture gauntlet except SIG on final cost, features a flat trigger, ambidextrous controls, and a low-bore axis that tames recoil better than most. Yet the street price still hovers between $700 and $900, and good luck finding a random recoil spring or optic plate at a rural gun counter on a Friday night. FN's civilian support network is growing, but it's still dwarfed by Glock and Smith & Wesson. Holsters exist, yet many are custom order, and magazines cost twice what a Glock mag does. The 5.7, that sci-fi looking 5.7's 28mm beast, punches armor like it's paper and holds 20 rounds flush, but the ammo runs $1 a trigger pull, and the pistol itself pushes $1,500. making it a range toy for most, and a duty tool for only the few agencies with the budget. Reliability is never the question. FN guns are overbuilt to the point of absurdity, with cold hammer forged barrels, reinforced polymer lowers, and finishes that shrug off salt water. The hesitation is purely practical. If you live outside a major metro area, stocking spares means mail order and wait times. And if your paycheck isn't padded with overtime or hazard pay, the upfront cost stings. Still, when the mission profile includes Arctic cold, desert heat, or weeks without a cleaning kit, FN is the quiet professional that never asks for praise. It just keeps clicking. For the prepared enthusiast willing to invest in a mini armory of spare parts and accept the premium, FN delivers military-grade confidence in a civilian package. For everyone else, it's the gun you admire on the wall, fondle at the counter, and reluctantly leave behind when the register rings up a second mortgage. Number 3. Sig Sauer, the Swiss-German powerhouse that's been arming elite units from Navy SEALs to Secret Service for decades, sits so close to the top of the reliability pyramid that it hurts to criticize. Yet a handful of high-profile stumbles keep it from claiming the absolute crown when every single millisecond and every single component has to be flawless under fire. Start with the pedigree. The P226 sealed its legend in the 1980s by outrunning Beretta in the Army's brutal XM9 trials, earning a Navy contract and a reputation for running wet, sandy, and cold without complaint. The P320 followed suit in 2017 by winning the modular handgun system contract, beating out Glock, Smith, FN, and everyone else to become the M17 and M18 for the entire US military. That's not marketing fluff. That's millions of tax dollars and thousands of hours of abuse saying the platform can take a beating. The P365 rewrote the micro-compact rulebook, stuffing 10+1, later 11, then 13 with extended mags, into a package barely bigger than a wallet with a flat trigger, night sights, and optics cut slides straight from the factory. Law enforcement adoption is massive. FBI HRT, Texas DPS, and countless patrol divisions trust the 320 and 365 daily. Aftermarket support is second only to Glock. Holsters, lights, compensators, and slide milling shops churn out parts like candy. The trigger on a Legion Series 226 or 320 is crisp enough to make grown men whisper sweet nothings. And the ergonomics, modular grip modules, interchangeable back straps, low bore axis, fit small hands and XXL mitts alike. Accuracy is surgical. I've watched a bone stock P320 X5 Legion punch sub 2-inch groups at 25 yards off a bag, and the P226 in my 357 SIG still holds the FBI's hostage rescue distance record. Recoil is tame, even in the snappy 365, thanks to smart engineering and modern metallurgy. Prices reflect the resume: $500 for a base 365, $700 for a 320 compact, up to $1,200 for a tricked-out Legion. So, why isn't it number 1? Because perfection has cracks. In 2017, early 320s demonstrated a drop-fire flaw at specific angles. A heavy slide, light trigger, and unseared geometry let the gun discharge if it landed on the back of the slide from waist height. SIG's voluntary upgrade program was swift and free. Thinner trigger, lighter striker, modified sear, but the headlines scorched reputations and spawned lawsuits that still echo. Some P365s from the first 2 production years suffered return to battery issues, broken strikers, or primer drag with certain ammo, requiring returns and revised parts. The Legion trigger bars have snapped under high round count competition use, and the manual safety models occasionally ship with safeties that engage mid-magazine if grip pressure shifts. None of these are deal breakers for a trained user who inspects and maintains, but when Glock has never needed a drop-fire fix and Smith recalls our ancient history, those incidents linger like smoke after the fire's out. Bottom line, Sig Sauer delivers 99.9% of what you need with style, modularity, and precision that make range days feel unfair. And for most carriers, civilian, cop, or contractor, that's plenty. But if your mission demands the last 0.1%, where a single failure is measured in funerals, you'll sleep better knowing the Austrian brick has never asked for a second chance. Number 2. Smith & Wesson, the Massachusetts-born icon that's been arming sheriffs, soldiers, and everyday carriers since 1852, sits just a hair's breadth from the top spot because it delivers American muscle, proven duty performance, and wallet-friendly pricing without ever pretending to be boutique. Yet a handful of speed bumps over the years keep it from stealing the absolute crown. Walk into any precinct or FBI field office and you'll spot the M&P 2.0 series riding on hips. Full-size 9mm with 17+1 capacity, a 1/10 twist barrel that stabilizes everything from 115-grain range fodder to 147-grain subsonics, an embedded steel chassis inside the polymer frame for rock-solid durability, and interchangeable palm swell backstraps so the grip molds to hands big or small. The trigger breaks crisp at 5.5 pounds with a short audible reset you can ride like a sewing machine, and the aggressive stippling keeps it planted even when your palms are slick with sweat or rain. Compact and shield. Plus models shrink the package without shrinking the fight, stuffing 10 to 13 rounds into a slice thinner than your wallet, and the optics-ready slides on newer versions mean you can slap a red dot on day one. Law enforcement adoption is massive. LAPD issues them by the crate, Border Patrol trusts them on the line, and the platform has digested hundreds of thousands of rounds in training cycles without the frame cracking or the slide peening. Aftermarket support is deep. Holsters from every major maker. Apex trigger kits, threaded barrels, extended mags, all in stock at the big box stores and shipping same day online. Prices hover in that sweet $400 to $600 window for new, and clean used examples dip under $350, making it the working man's Glock without the Austrian accent. Where the caution flag waves is history. The 2013 M&P Shield recall on pre-August units where the striker could shear and cause a dead trigger. Fixed now with a free upgrade kit, but it left a scar on the trust ledger. Older revolvers had the infamous Hillary hole lock that some owners drilled out, and recent supply chain hiccups from pandemic demand spikes meant occasional out-of-spec magazines or finish blemishes slipping through QC. The metal frame M&P 2.0 variants launched with premium pricing that confused buyers expecting polymer money, and while the 10mm and 45 ACP chamberings are stout, recoil is snappier than the 9mm Darling. Still, every issue has been addressed. Serial number lookups are easy on their website, and the lifetime service department answers the phone faster than most. Bottom line, if you want a pistol that's been beaten on by cops in the rain, carried by civilians in the heat, and still comes home ready for tomorrow, Smith & Wesson earns its silver medal with pride. Just verify the born-on date, run a couple hundred rounds of your carry ammo, and you're holding a piece of American firepower that won't let you down when the badge or the family is on the line. Number 1. Glock, the Austrian pioneer that turned a polymer-framed 9mm into the most trusted sidearm on the planet since its 1982 debut, sits unchallenged at the top of this list because it stripped away every unnecessary frill, kept the parts count under 40, and delivered a pistol that simply refuses to quit no matter how badly you abuse it. Gaston Glock, a curtain rod engineer with zero firearms experience, built the Glock 17 to win an Austrian military trial and the safe action trigger. 3 internal drop safeties, no manual lever, no decocker, made it idiot-proof for soldiers and civilians alike. Drop it in a mud puddle, drag it behind a truck, bury it in desert sand for a week, fish it out, rack the slide, and it fires like the day it left the factory. 65% of American law enforcement carries one, from small-town patrol to FBI HRT, because the Gen 3 and Gen 5 platforms have survived million-round endurance tests, ice water submersion, and every torture YouTuber can dream up. The polymer frame shrugs off rust, the polygonal barrel laughs at leading, and the tenifer finish is harder than most tool steel. Early brass-to-face ejection on Gen 4 is ancient history. Gen 5 fixed the extractor, tightened the barrel crown, and added ambidextrous slide stops without sacrificing the legendary reliability. A Glock 19 runs $550 street price, holds 15+1, weighs 23 ounces empty, and disappears under a t-shirt while printing less than a wallet. Aftermarket support is unmatched. Holsters in every gas station, night sights on Amazon Prime, extended mags at every match, and armorer courses in every major city. The trigger breaks at 5.5 pounds with a short reset. The grip angle points naturally for most hands, and interchangeable backstraps fit everyone from toddlers to linebackers. It's not the prettiest. The trigger isn't a tuned 1911, and it won't win a beauty contest next to a metal frame Sig. But beauty doesn't save lives when the lights go out. From Norwegian special forces in Arctic blizzards to Arizona deputies in 120-degree dust storms, the same boring black slab keeps cycling. Spare parts cost pennies, magazines drop free even when caked in grit, and the bore axis sits low enough to tame recoil without a compensator. If you want a firearm that works every single time, no excuses, no babysitting, no special ammo, Glock is the answer. It's the Toyota Camry of handguns. Zero excitement, infinite miles, and the reason every other manufacturer measures themselves against it. There you have it, 12 brands, one clear message. Cheap can cost you everything. Innovation needs proven grit, and sometimes simple wins the war. Do your homework, handle them in person, and pick what fits your hand and your life. Drop your experiences below. Like if this helped, subscribe for more no BS gear talk, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe out there.